Welcome back, dear viewers. You're still watching Night Cruise on Nile TV International. We bring you a very special dear viewers segment. We have with us in this segment Safia, which is the director of the documentary that we're going to be discussing in this segment, dear viewers. We have with us Tasneem Mohamed. Tasneem, what is your role in this documentary?
I was a photographer in the movie.
Okay, and we also have Maysoon Mohamed, members of the film crew, and it's always a pleasure to have you with us. Maysoon, what was your
I was an
role?
editor. My main role was an editor.
Editing. Okay, where do you want to start from? Do you want to start from Safia, or okay, Safia?
I
Safia,
will
you're the
start.
director. Okay,
Yes.
so you're the main pillar of this work.
Somewhat.
Okay, tell us more about the documentary and the importance of the documentary, and why did you think of doing this documentary?
Okay, so first of all, the documentary is centered around the main character of the movie called Sora Lisi. She is Egypt's first ever professional mermaid. And what inspired this documentary is that we are.
She is a real character that exists?
She's a real person, yes.
Really?
She's a professional diver and an environmental activist and also a professional mermaid with with the tail and everything.
Really?
And what inspired me to work on this movie is that we are seniors in mass communication, and we are RTV majors. So we wanted to choose an idea that was non-traditional and new. So one of my TAs in university suggested something underwater. So it got me thinking. Um, Outside of Egypt, there are many underwater mermaids. So I wanted to see if there was one that was an Egyptian. So me and my team, we all decided to research, and we found her online, and we messaged her. We didn't think that she would reply, to be honest, but she replied, and she was such a humble and wonderful person, and thus we created the movie Antias.
Amazing. And what sparked the initial idea of this documentary film?
That we wanted to create a graduation project that we were passionate about.
And did you graduate or yet to graduate?
We have one semester left.
One semester yet.
1 month and
Because
we'll
you
be
mentioned you're
graduates.
in mass communication.
Mass communication majors, yes. And
And
RTV, radio and television.
really?
Yes.
Okay, that's amazing. What Tasneem, what inspired the choice of the title of of the documentary film, and can you discuss any specific scenes or moments in the film that you believe embody the spirit of Antis?
While we were filming the interview, Sarah was talking about the tales she made before, and she was describing her recent tale she's making. She was describing its colors and how she got the inspiration for her new tale, and she told us that she was inspired by the antis fish. And as you can see in the movie, there was a scene that shows us this fish and what's its colors.
Amazing. Let's move on to Maysoon. Maysoon, were there any alternative titles considered during the planning stages of the documentary, and what led to the final decision to settle on this documentary? And do you feel answer this?
Okay. Yes, there was another alternate title to our documentary, which is called Roga. Roga means free spirit. Roga was a boat that we filmed the interview on it in Mars Alam. But we all agreed on the term Antius because, as just the team mentioned, that we were filming the interview in Mars Alam, and Sarah mentioned that she was working on her newest tale, which inspired by a fish called Antius.
That's amazing. Let's go back to Safia. Safia, um, do you feel that the title accurately represents the essence of the documentary and Sarah Lisi's unique journey?
I do, because even the smallest thing, like Sora, Maysoon and Tasneem mentioned, even the smallest thing, like the smallest detail inspired such creativity from Sora, and we wanted a name that inspired curiosity. We didn't want it to be an obvious name, and it would have been very easy for us to call it the mermaid or even her name, but we wanted it to be something that made people think. And even the smallest thing inspired such creativity from Sora, and we felt inspired by it.
Okay. How did the concept of the film evolve from its inception to its final form?
Of course, at the beginning, we had this idea of the movie, but everything, of course, changes when you go and film. We
As you
went,
go on, everything there are things that change. Yeah.
yes, exactly. We filmed in Marsa Alam for 4 days, the entire movie. And at the beginning, we had a certain idea in our heads, but ultimately at the end, we wanted the concept of the film to be not just about Sora as a mermaid, but her as an environmental activist, and these multiple sides of her character, not just one side.
Perfect. How did you go about researching and gathering information to develop the storyline and themes of the documentary?
We found valuable information through online research, and as Sarah suggested to us, we watched a documentary called Mere People.
As part of the cinematography team, what were some of the techniques and approaches you used to capture the underwater scenes effectively?
In filming the underwater scenes, we had two concepts, two sets of footage that we wanted to take. And I, as well as directing, I also filmed the parts underwater. There are two types of scenes underwater that we took. Scenes that are taken from the bottom of the sea, which we got the help of a professional diver friend of Sara. He's called Karim Abdelaziz. He's a wonderful local diver here, and he took the very deep scenes that I could not take because I sadly don't have a diving license, and I took the scenes that were more close up and on the surface of the water. And of course, it was a very daunting thing to witness all of the ocean life around her. As you can see in the movie, I was so close to her, and I had to film very still, or else the whole scene would have been ruined because you're in front of this incredible scene in front of you, and she is so one with the water.
What aspects of Tara's story or character resonated with you and compelled you to pursue this project?
Her passion for doing the things that she loves, no matter how different it is, and how she tied between her job and to protect the nature and animals under the sea.
Can you discuss any creative decisions or elements that were incorporated into the film to enhance its impact or convey its message more effectively?
So there, we started the movie with a introduction that does not show any of the scenes of her underwater. It was just her as a person getting ready, and her very close as a human. We didn't want the very first opening of the movie to be, oh wow, that's a mermaid. We wanted to start at the very humble human beginnings of her, and for her to tell her story at the beginning, and then we built from every scene to every scene the progression of the movie from Sora as the mermaid to Sora as the environmental activist.
Perfect. Can you discuss any specific scenes or sequences in the film that you found challenging or rewarding to work on?
During filming the underwater scenes, it was so challenging for us, especially because it's our first attempt. And Dr. Sameh Al Shawadi, our director and supervisor for our graduation project, mentioned his concerns about filming under the water, and that's why we had a professional diver with us to ensure the safety of the crew.
What aspects of the documentary's subject matter resonated with you personally, and how did that influence your contributions to the project?
I think this is something every single one of us can answer, but for me personally was Sora's love for animals. Because she is such a nature lover, and as someone from my own childhood, I've always loved animals, and hearing her have this passion for everything other than herself. Even while filming, she would always wander and pet every animal she saw, and she would have such a concern in teaching people how to respect marine life. It was such a wonder to see.
Okay, based on your experience working on this film, what lessons have you learned or insights have you gained that you will carry forward into future projects or into your future as I see you're enthusiastic about being a director?
Since it was our first time filming abroad, not abroad, but in a different environment than what I'm used to, I had to learn flexibility. That it's not always gonna go how you planned, but you always have to go with the motion of the movie, and you always have to have a plan. But the plans change, and you have to change with it, and be always prepared to do the best with what you have.
looking back, what do you hope audiences will understand or appreciate about the film's underlying concept, and what do you believe sets it apart from other documentaries? I think you have the right to answer this question because you're the director.
If I had to say the concept of the movie or the theme that really summarizes the element of the movie for the audience is authenticity and uniqueness. That you can be whoever you want to be, no matter how different it is from other people. And at the same time, you don't always have to be just one thing. Take Sora, for example. You would think she's just this person who's a mermaid underwater, and although it is a massively impressive thing, she is so much more than that. And she uses her platform as a performer underwater to really shed light on matters of more importance. And that's what we hope to deliver to the audience, is that you can always be authentic to yourself. And what I want audiences to take away from the movie is that not only that you have to be true to yourself, but you can also be multiple versions that can be around so many new different things, like Sora. And that's what I want people to take away from the film.
Okay, Safia Anas, you are a really inspiring character.
Thank you so much.
I hail you for and praise you, of course, for this documentary that I hope that adds to your project. And of course, it's really different. The three of you, of course, made a tremendous effort. Of course, your documentary is going to be different, and you're going to excel. Wishing you all success, the three of you. Safia Anas, director. Tasneem Mohamed, thank you very much for joining us. You're an amazing character, but in the world of media, Tasneem, we don't care for the camera.
Thank you.
We just sit together, talk, and it's easy. Maysoon Mohamed, thank you very much for your lovely smile that you drew on our faces. Thank you very much. For joining us in today's episode of Nile Cruise. Thank you very much for adding to informative knowledge to us, and thank you very much for this wonderful documentary. Dear viewers, stay tuned. I'll be back again. Don't go away.